Hey, welcome back to A Gutsy Guy with your host, Chris Mastery. First video back in a while and a little bit nervous, so excuse me, bear with me. Just want to give you a bit of an update about what I've been doing for the last 2.5, almost 3 years, where I went, what happened. They say you have a life-changing experience but once every 6 months or so. Well, I'll tell you, I'm in my mid 40s and had a major life changing experience. Um, Basically, I posted a video, um, the last video I posted. Yeah, shortly after that, I found out that we were pregnant and expecting. And well, we're almost empty nesters, so it was a bit of a shock. And yeah, where to begin? Where to begin, eh? Anyways, it kind of set me on a path of I needed to get a bunch of things done. I needed to finish off some projects because I knew once the baby came, I would have very little time. Anyways, I hate to say it, I put everything else on the side. I had some projects like had to finish my yard, the shed, the patio, the sidewalk, just some projects I had to finish on the outside. We wanted to finish the main floor flooring, wanted to redo that, and I needed to finish the basement. These were all projects I was working on, thinking of doing, stuff like that, but just was no hurry to do them and stuff like that until all of a sudden we found out we were pregnant. So, anyways, yeah, pretty much set me on this path of I just need to get things done. This started late 2020, just before COVID. I'd probably say maybe about July, August ish, somewhere's in there. Anyway, so once I found out, I was like, you know what, let me get started on this stuff. Luckily, we had a fairly long fall, so I was able to get the shed done. I was able to get the patio done. I was able to get the sidewalk done, and I was, just all the yard work and cleanup that all that entails. I was able to get all that done before it started snowing. Maybe about a week or two before it started snowing, I finished all that stuff. So it was a busy time. Obviously, working full time. My wife's working full time, so we're just trying to get a whole bunch of things done. And she's more focusing on the inside, maybe thinking of little things to do and what we can get ready for the baby's room and those kind of things. And anyways, yeah. So fast forward, we're kind of just looking for materials and stuff like that. I had priced out all the materials for the basement, when I was doing the shed in the fall there. And this was before COVID, so materials were reasonably priced. Even for the flooring, it's still fairly reasonably priced. Anyways, just before COVID hit, it was December, and luckily we had it was late December, just after Christmas. And just before COVID hit, we decided that, we didn't even know COVID was coming, obviously, but we decided we were going to do the flooring because the weather was so nice. In Canada here, it gets a little chilly. It's usually in the minus 25, 30s and stuff like that in January, where it was like +8, +10, all this other kind of stuff. So I was able to work on the main floor flooring, put the saw just outside the door there, cut all my boards and stuff like this, and it was great. I finished the floors. I was the beginning first second week of January there, or whatever it was, and just finished all of it. Within like working in the evenings and the weekends, or in the one weekend there, I just finished it all. Got it all done, got the baseboards back on, and then started gearing up to finish the basement because I was trying to start that in February. So I was trying to pace myself a little bit, not trying to stress myself because I'm working full time. I know I have starting February. I know I have about 3 months to try and get my basement finished before the baby comes because she was due at the end of April. So long story short, thank God for family because my dad and my uncle helped me. They helped me with the shed, obviously, as well. But they decided that they were going to come help me, work 3, 4, 5 hours during the days, Monday to Friday for me while I was at work, and then I would kind of take over in the evenings and work 4 or 5 hours in the evenings and the weekends. So that pretty much did that for 3 months, working full time too. So not killing myself, but you know, at a nice even pace. I mean, it's your own house, so you kind of do what you got to do, anyways, yeah, I got it all done just before the baby came. So just it was near the end of April there, and basically just finishing it up, finishing everything up. I have still one last thing left to do is the stair rail. 2 years later, because she's just over 2 years now. But anyways, got all of that stuff done. Just before Naya came, a beautiful baby girl, April 28th, 2021. Yeah, it was an intense couple of years. Just prior to that, in case you don't remember, but I had just gotten over a flare, which is kind of why I started the channel. My first flare in about, geez, 8 years. And I just went back to my routine, just eating healthy and doing all that kind of stuff. Well, life kind of changed for me in a hurry there after that. So, my wife, geez, where to start? My wife, during this whole time of getting the house ready, my wife, we're in our mid 40s. So the doctor determined that, just with COVID and stuff had started up there, that it might not be safe for her to continue working because she's a nurse. So she's in the hospitals, pretty directly involved with it. So basically told her to stay at home and whatnot. So she was at home for the better part of 4 or 5 months there of the pregnancy, and while I was working. And anyways, long story short, we had the baby. My wife was home for 6 months. She was getting like, I need to go back to work. I've almost been off a year. As a nurse, she didn't want to stay out of the field too long and stuff like that. So COVID was still happening. So we decided that I'd stay home for 6 months. I was pretty nervous about that, but agreed to it. Best thing I've ever done though. Yeah, anyways, stayed home for 6 months, but in my head, I'm thinking, oh, you know what? Plenty of time. I can look after the baby while she's napping once or twice a day. I can get the laundry, the cooking, all the cleaning of the house done. I can get all that done. I can probably post a couple videos, get back into this, because the whole time I'm thinking, man, I haven't had time to post a video. It's just been so busy. Anyways, time passes. That 6 months flew by so fast. I couldn't even believe it. Fast forward that 6 months, I was about ready to go back to work, and I'm having all this anxiety about going back to work. Maybe it's just the separation anxiety of leaving the baby. We didn't really need to figure out childcare. We're lucky we had our parents helping us out. My wife's a nurse, so she only works 2-3 days during the week, and so we just need childcare for a couple of days during the week. But it was intense. So me going back to work, there was a whole bunch of challenges with that. Work was giving me a bit of a hard time, and it was maybe it's just the male aspect of a male taking the time off work. I'm not sure. But the GM of the company just was not happy about me taking 6 months off, especially as an outside salesperson. He was giving me a hard time when I came back. I guess he was telling the manager that, it's just not normal, blah, 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 and all this other kind of stuff. And I'm just like thinking, well, I'm spending time with my family. It's just, most companies are okay with that. And this is supposed to be a family orientated company. But anyways, long story short on that, it was causing me a great deal of stress and anxiety going back to work. They told me I basically couldn't go back to work for the time that I wanted to, or the time I was supposed to go back to work, because I was supposed to write them a letter 30 days before I went back to work. Well, that letter, obviously I wasn't aware of this. So I thought I was just going back to work at a certain date, and it just never happened. And so anyways, I wrote this letter. They told me I had to wait 30 days. So basically my EAI had run out, and now I'm having to wait almost nearly 5-6 weeks before my next paycheck. Well, we've already been off for almost a year and a half down to one income. So that hit us really hard. It was a struggle. I was really upset that they did that. And to boot, they basically told me I had to start all over and go get all of my customers all over again and earn all my customers back. That was a little frustrating, I must admit. But long story short, ended up doing it. But my first week back at work, guess what? All the stress finally hit me. I was still barely getting any sleep this whole time because obviously the baby's waking up a few times a night and I'm just struggling. I'm trying to prove myself to get back to work and say, okay, well, I got to go do all this, 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 and this. I'm still trying to maintain the home life and all these. There's just the amount of things that were going on. So guess what? Within the first week, I went from not bleeding and just, I mean, my bowel movements weren't normal, but they were fine to, by the end of that week, I was bleeding profusely. My bowel movements just went all the way as far down as they could possibly go. They were as bad as they've ever been. And I probably lost about 10, 12 pounds by the end of the week. Everybody at work was like, oh my God, what's happening to you? Like, you lose 10 or 12 pounds in a week, it's kind of noticeable, right? So anyways, the next day, the Monday, after me being at work for 1 week, I went to the manager or my boss and just told him, like, listen, I need to either work from home or go on disability as much as I don't want to. I'm just too sick to come to work. Luckily, they agreed that I could work from home. It's tough to do sales and all that kind of stuff when you're working from home, but they agreed to it. This whole time, I'm like, okay, well, I need to go to the doctor. It's been years since I've had a colonoscopy. I'm getting older, so I need to go do that. So anyways, I finally went to the doctor, went and had the colonoscopy. Obviously, they confirmed that I was in the middle of a flare, a pretty big flare. So new medications. And as I've always said, if the medications are working, continue to take them. Always follow what your doctor says. This is one of those things where I've been medication free for 10 years up until that stage. They put me on a medication called Mesavant. Seemed to clear me up pretty good. So within about 3 months, I was pretty good. Obviously gave me the opportunity to deal with my stress and to get back on a proper eating regimen. So all that being said, that's kind of where I've been at for the last 2.5 years or so, almost 3 years. Up until this stage, I am working full time, managing a 2-year-old now who's just got so much energy. She's keeping me young or making me old, one of the two. And obviously managing a full-time job and all that kind of stuff. But I just wanted to touch base with y'all. I know it's been a while since I've posted a video. I want to give a quick update video of where I'm at before I get back into any of the videos. Just wanted to let you know too that all these things I've been through, all the efforts and all the things, as I look back at those things, as I'm telling the story to you guys, I made it through all that stuff. Was it easy sometimes? No. With years, and they all happen within about 2.5 years of each other. I'd say that's pretty good. Usually I've been pretty good managing my stress and my eating for the most part, other than when I get really stressed, I eat really poorly. So anyways, I want to encourage y'all that you can do it too. That's just what's happened to me over the last 2.5 years or so. I'm sure many of you got going into this or whatever has happened to you in the last 2.5 years. I'm sure you've been all through a lot of things and whatnot. Hopefully hear from you, maybe just say hi in the comments and I'll try to comment back. But looking forward to getting back in front of you all again. I love the UC and the Crohn's community, and hopefully we can get back to doing what we do. I have some pretty cool videos planned, and I got a few other things that I'm working on in the back of my mind. Hopefully I'll have the time with the 2-year-old running around, but looking forward to it, and hopefully y'all have a great day. And thanks again for following. Hit that like and subscribe button.